All aboard high-speed rail, or I guess I should say higher speed rail. Been years in the making. Billions of dollars. And apparently, Amtrak now going to launch this to where it's going to allow trains to go 110 miles an hour. I want to say it was 2011 or so when I was in the newsroom here at WMAY and was given the opportunity to hop on board an Amtrak and experience going 110 miles an hour on some tracks that were updated to allow for that. And it was all in an effort to highlight how high-speed rail, as they called it, will allow for trains to be quicker and get people to where they're wanting to go. And here we are now, Amtrak announcing that travelers aboard Amtrak's Lincoln service trains are going to be able to experience the 110 miles per hour. And you've got this now being implemented, and they're saying that it could cut off approximately 15 minutes of travel for some of the services. And again, this is the Amtrak service, and I'm curious if you are more apt to take high-speed rail or higher-speed rail in order to, use public transportation. 217-629-7970, that's the phone number. Your thoughts. Listen, every time I've taken Amtrak to Chicago, for instance, it's always late. It's always late. Because they have to, stop for a bit because there's an obstruction somewhere on another track, or, a freight train is stalled or something to that effect. And I think that that's the general experience that people have when they take Amtrak is you're going to be delayed a bit. So your thoughts, do you think that this high-speed rail is really going to equate to 15 minutes shaved off your trip if you go from Chicago to Springfield or something? Or if that's really just, hey, you could save 15 minutes, but you could also be delayed by an hour or so, depending on the train traffic and other problems that might arise. So high-speed rail, you've had billions of dollars spent on this. It's not the bullet trains that you see over in Asia, for instance. So nowhere near those speeds, but higher speeds. Hey, I don't know if you can call it high-speed rail, but it's at least higher speed rail. So let's get to your phone calls at 217-629-7970. Again, 217-629-7970. Good morning. You're on WMAY. You're on the air. Going once. They just couldn't muster up the confidence. I understand. It's tough getting on the radio, but you can sound off and have your voice heard at 217-629-7970. It sounds great in theory, right? I mean, being able to get on a, quote, high-speed rail, but is it really going to work out that way? Full phone lines. We'll get to all the calls, I promise, at 217-629-7970. Good morning. You're up. Your thoughts on this?
Good morning. Have you ever rode the train to Chicago?
I have. Several times.
Did they pull over the side and wait 15 or 20 minutes?
Sometimes it was 30 or 45 minutes.
Yeah. So where's the savings? All this is a scam. It's a payback to the unions. They spent millions of dollars for no reason. This high-speed rail, just to put the union workers back to work.
I mean, listen, jobs are jobs, and jobs are good, but should we just expend tax dollars just for the sake of a job?
Yeah, who's paying for it? Who's paying for it? Yeah. You and me.
Yeah, and even I appreciate the call. And even when Amtrak has very low, ridership, we're still paying for it, right? So 217-629-7970 is the phone number. Good morning. You're on WMAY. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Hello?
You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, the whole reason for this high-speed rail, sort of, is Dick Durbin needed more money. The railroads built a big intermodal yard up in Joliet, and they needed a better line to run their freight trains on. So there's upwards of 80 freight trains a day running on that rail now. And that's the only reason. that it was ever put through was for Durbin and his dollars for his fund.
Well, it's not Durbin's dollars, it's your tax dollars.
I know it's our tax dollars paying for money to go to him from the unions and the railroad for his campaigns.
Yeah. Interesting perspective. So do you plan on taking high-speed rail at all, or is that something that's completely out of the question for you?
Once, and once was enough.
All right. I got you. 217-629-7970 is the phone number. Good morning. You're on WMAY. You all aboard on higher speed rail? Good morning.
Morning, Greg. So how much is this going to get jacked up for tickets? Or is it not going to be affected at all?
Ticket prices?
Yeah. I mean, they're already, semi-high enough. Is it going to get jacked up more, or how is this actually going to affect tickets?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I've seen that reported, and as far as the ticket prices, but regardless, your tax dollars subsidize Amtrak. So even if you don't ride, you're paying for it.
No, I don't disagree with that. I was just curious because actually what me and my family end up doing is we go to like Bloomington and Peoria and Champaign through there to like the Science Center. And I forget which one it is, but the train actually stops off like a block away from here. And it's like it used to be $20 to just ride the train, take the kids to the Science Center, spend the day there, and then take the train back.
Yeah, listen, I mean, the train's fun. I'm not going to lie. It's a good time. And Megan and I have thought about getting on a train and going all the way across the country. If I didn't have to be somewhere at a specific time, like a meeting in Chicago at noon, and try to get on the train at 5 o'clock in the morning and make that meeting, I can't guarantee I'm going to make that meeting. Right? Because you could get stalled or delayed or whatever the case may be.
Well, and then, and the very unfortunate happens, maybe someone, did get hit by it or anything like that. Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of my, I guess, dread is that, it's really going to make anything that gets hit just gone. I mean, it's going to just destroy anything that gets in the actual path of it, whether it be a car or a deer, or anything like that too.
Well, and I know like when they get to certain crossing areas, they do reduce their speeds, but still a lot of dollars going into this. Is it something that you're willing to, get on because of the higher speed rail? Apparently some of you just not willing to do that, but you're still paying for it. All right, even if you aren't paying a ticket price to get on Amtrak, you're still paying for it because it's well subsidized. Let's just put it that way. All right, let's try this again. You are up. Good morning.
Yes, the Democrat Party it's always a win-win for them. They cannot lose. All these high-speed rails, and then they get the union kickback money, and then they're also building the cattle chute that they want us to travel on. And they let our roads deteriorate so bad. It's just a big plan to limit our mobility, our freedom of mobility. And they're stealing our money to pay for it all.
And they're going to start pushing more and more electric vehicles with people concerned that that's going to take away mobility as well. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Hey, good morning, Greg.
Hey.
I really like rail travel, and we've traveled all over the country on it. But I don't care what they call it. There is no expectation of, number one, it being high speed, or number two, it's showing up on time.
Right.
And it never will. I don't care how much they spend. Unless they have dedicated rails, it's not going to work. And just to show you the foolishness of some of these people planning everybody knows most of the routes are laid out in such a way as to get as many congressmen to vote yes as possible. And the second thing is, have you been on their new cars? These Amtrak Midwest cars we spent billions of dollars on?
Not yet.
The seats don't even recline on the new cars. they are the most
travesty.
uncomfortable seats. You would, it better be high speed because you won't last more than about 15 minutes. So anyway, I like the train, but let's get real. It's a political handout, and it is what it is.
Appreciate the calls. It is Springfield's Morning News, and that's what we do. We open up the phone lines and let you get your voice heard on these issues. And you can always chime in either live at 217-629-7970, or you can email me, bishoponair@gmail.com. It is Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop. Follow me on Twitter, Bishop on Air, YouTube, Bishop on Air, Facebook, Bishop on Air, and we can connect that way.